Hello. Let's talk about how people aren't in control of themselves or of anything really. It's all a kind of illusion. And we all know this because we all do and say stuff we don't mean to do. It's almost like there's always two of us inhabiting this body. One of them wants one thing and another wants another thing, and they're at war, and sometimes one of them wins and sometimes the other. We get angry, and when we're angry we say lots of things. We just say anything to hurt, to negate, to demean, and most of them we don't even mean them. And then once we've said them, we've said them. And because we want to appear to be good and perfect, we can't unsay them, because then that would mean we're wrong. And of course I cannot be wrong, can I? Because if I'm wrong, what's going to happen? Of course nothing will happen. There's this thing inside of us. I call it the thing. And it's actually there all the time in any situation. Sometimes there are events that can use to express itself, to relieve pressure. And what will happen is that inner will justify itself by looking at the external world, you know. It's like no matter how close to you the person is, what they say about you has no actual effect upon you that you don't allow. But it's like seeing that what people say doesn't matter, that's one thing. But the behaviours that have built up over years of thinking that it does matter are another thing. And that is a funny thing, because what it does, once you've seen that the words that other people say don't matter, that can't really justify itself with that anymore, so that justifies itself by getting angry or using as a justification to express itself your inability to drop those behaviours like that. And it's hard. Really, we in the process of meditation, right? Meditation is a beautiful example for all of life. And in the process of meditation, there'll be periods of times where you're focused on your anchor, you know, your hands, your breath, whatever it is you're using to pay attention to. And then there'll be periods of time where you're distracted and you're away with the thoughts and stuff. And then the comes in then. It's like, why aren't I focusing on this? And the words that the uses, the mind, no. And then that just makes it even harder to go back to focusing on the thing, because then you're focused on it, not on the thing. There's a lesson to be taught there, and the way your mind behaves is that there'll be some thought structures that arise, you know, some thoughts, and they create angst or frustration. And if you and then the actual frustration, funnily enough, makes you focus on them, makes you keep looking at it and keep picking at it. And if you stop picking at it, if you ignore it and maintain focus on the thing you're maintaining focus on, then the mind will come up with other things to try and distract you. And so you can kind of cultivate the garden through this. You ignore what you don't want growing, and you pay attention to what you want growing. And I think in interpersonal relations, the same method is the best method, because you'll have somebody speaking, and in a sense, each individual person is just projecting their mental contents outwards and their internal monologue outwards. And so what you can do with other people is, if they're saying stuff that you find interesting and want to engage in, you engage in it. And if they're saying stuff you don't want to engage in, you ignore it. But makes you try and force the process, and you can't force it. It just makes it worse, and you got to kind of take a step back. It's patience, really. That's what's needed, is just patience in everything. And it's hard, because there's never something that's 100% what you want. It's always kind of got impurities in it, so to speak. And it's not that you're going to get rid of the impurities, it's that you've got to take the impurities with the purity, if you get what I mean. You've got to accept the good with the bad in everything. Because even our desires change over time. Anyway, goodbye.